"No one dies a death that isn't wanted" is a profound and potentially controversial statement that delves into the heart of the Seth material's teachings on the nature of reality, consciousness, and death. This concept challenges our conventional understanding of mortality and invites us to explore a deeper, more expansive view of human existence. The Seth material, a brief overview. The Seth material, channeled by Jane Roberts and transcribed by her husband Robert Butts, presents a complex metaphysical framework that posits consciousness as the fundamental basis of reality. According to Seth, we are multidimensional beings who create our own realities through our thoughts, beliefs, and expectations. Understanding the statement. When Seth says, "No one dies a death that isn't wanted," it's crucial to understand this in the context of the broader Seth material. This statement doesn't imply a simplistic, surface-level desire for death, but rather a deeper, soul-level choice that may not be consciously recognized. The nature of the self. In the Seth material, the self we know in our daily lives is just a small part of a larger, multidimensional entity often referred to as the whole self or entity. This larger self exists beyond the constraints of physical time and space, simultaneously experiencing multiple lives across various dimensions. Choosing experiences. Seth teaches that our souls choose certain experiences, including the experience of death, for purposes of growth, learning, and exploration. These choices are made on a level that transcends our everyday consciousness. The concept of death in the Seth material. Seth's perspective on death differs significantly from conventional views. Death is transition. In the Seth material, death is not an ending but a transition. It's described as a shift in focus from physical to non-physical reality. Seth often compares it to moving from one room to another in a vast house. The illusion of time. Seth emphasizes that time, as we perceive it, is an illusion. From the perspective of the larger self, all lives, past, present, and future, are occurring simultaneously. This non-linear view of existence challenges our typical understanding of birth and death as absolute beginnings and endings. Interpreting wanted deaths. The idea that all deaths are wanted can be understood in several ways. Soul-level choices. According to Seth, our souls make choices about the general outline of our lives, including approximate time and manner of death, before we are born. These choices are made for various reasons, such as completing certain experiences or assisting in the growth of others. Belief systems and reality creation. Seth emphasizes the power of beliefs in shaping our realities. Our deeply held beliefs about life, death, aging, and health can influence the timing and manner of our deaths, often in ways we don't consciously recognize. Lessons and growth. Sometimes, a particular death experience might be chosen for the lessons it offers, not only to the individual but also to those around them. This could include sudden deaths that spark social change or prolonged illnesses that teach patience and compassion. Challenging aspects of this concept. While the idea that no one dies a death that isn't wanted can be comforting in some ways, it also presents challenges. Tragic and untimely deaths. This concept can be particularly difficult to accept in cases of tragic or seemingly untimely deaths, such as those of children or victims of violence. Seth's teachings suggest that even these events are chosen on some level for the experiences they provide. Free will and predestination. The idea of pre-birth choices might seem to conflict with the concept of free will. However, Seth describes a complex interplay between predetermination and free will, where we set up general parameters for our lives but have freedom in how we navigate within those parameters. Collective events. In cases of mass casualties, such as natural disasters or wars, Seth suggests that these are collective choices made by groups of souls for shared experiences and lessons. Practical implications. Understanding that no one dies a death that isn't wanted can have profound implications for how we view life and death. Reducing fear of death. By reframing death as a chosen transition rather than an ending, this perspective can help alleviate the fear of death that pervades much of human society. Embracing life fully. Paradoxically, this view of death can lead to a fuller embrace of life. If we trust that we won't die before we're ready on a soul level, we may feel more freedom to take risks and live authentically. Coping with loss. For those grieving, this perspective can offer comfort by suggesting that their loved ones transitioned according to their own higher wisdom and choice. Ethical considerations. The concept that all deaths are wanted raises important ethical questions. Personal responsibility. If all deaths are chosen, does this absolve individuals or society from responsibility for preventable deaths? Seth's teachings would argue no, we are still responsible for our actions and their consequences in the physical world. Suicide and euthanasia. The idea that all deaths are wanted could be misinterpreted as justification for suicide or euthanasia. However, Seth emphasizes the value of each life experience and discourages prematurely ending one's life. Medical intervention. This concept might seem to argue against medical intervention to prolong life. However, Seth suggests that such interventions are part of the overall life plan and can provide valuable experiences. Scientific perspective. From a scientific standpoint, the idea that no one dies a death that isn't wanted is not empirically verifiable. It falls into the realm of metaphysical or spiritual beliefs rather than scientific fact. Near-death experiences. While not direct evidence for Seth's claims, research into near-death experiences, NDEs, has provided intriguing accounts that align with some aspects of Seth's descriptions of the death transition. Quantum physics. Some proponents of the Seth material draw parallels between Seth's descriptions of multiple realities and concepts in quantum physics, such as the many worlds interpretation. However, these connections remain speculative. Cultural and religious parallels. The idea of chosen or destined deaths is not unique to the Seth material. Hinduism and Buddhism. These Eastern religions incorporate concepts of karma and reincarnation that align in some ways with Seth's teachings on chosen life experiences. Indigenous beliefs. Many indigenous cultures view death as a transition rather than an ending, similar to Seth's perspective. Western mysticism. Some strands of Western mysticism, including certain Gnostic and esoteric teachings, present views of the soul choosing incarnations for specific purposes. Practical application in daily life. Integrating the concept that no one dies a death that isn't wanted into daily life can be transformative. Mindfulness and present moment awareness. This perspective encourages living fully in the present, knowing that each moment is a chosen experience. Cultivating trust. Trusting in the wisdom of our larger self can reduce anxiety about the future and foster a sense of purpose and meaning in life. Compassion for self and others. Understanding that everyone is on their own chosen path can increase compassion and reduce judgment of others' life choices. Challenges in accepting this concept. For many, especially those raised in Western cultures, accepting that no one dies a death that isn't wanted can be challenging. Emotional resistance. The idea may evoke strong emotional resistance, particularly for those who have experienced traumatic losses. Logical objections. From a logical standpoint, this concept raises questions about free will, determinism, and the nature of consciousness that can be difficult to reconcile. Cultural conditioning. Our cultural conditioning around death as something to be feared and avoided at all costs can make it hard to embrace this alternative perspective. Integrating the concept. For those interested in exploring this idea further, study of the Seth material. A deeper dive into the Seth material can provide a more comprehensive understanding of this concept within its broader metaphysical framework. Personal reflection. Reflecting on one's own beliefs about death and the nature of reality can be a powerful tool for personal growth. Meditation and altered states. Seth encouraged the exploration of altered states of consciousness as a means of accessing deeper levels of self-knowledge. Conclusion. The statement "no one dies a death that isn't wanted" encapsulates a profound and challenging aspect of the Seth material's teachings. It invites us to reconsider our understanding of life, death, and the nature of reality itself. While this concept may not align with everyone's beliefs or experiences, it offers a unique perspective that can potentially transform our relationship with mortality and enrich our appreciation for the complexities of human existence. Ultimately, whether one fully accepts this idea or not, engaging with it can lead to valuable insights and a deeper contemplation of life's greatest mysteries. As with all metaphysical concepts, it's up to each individual to explore, question, and determine how this perspective resonates with their own understanding and experience of reality. Based on the Seth material, here are some key points about how Seth explains the process of choosing one's own death. 1. Seth suggests that all deaths are chosen on some level by the individual, even if not consciously. This choice is made by the inner self or whole self rather than the ego personality. 2. The timing and manner of death are selected before birth as part of the overall life plan, though this can be adjusted. Seth states, "You are not at the mercy of time. Your life is your own creation." 3. The choice of death serves the soul's purposes for growth, learning and experience. Even seemingly tragic deaths are said to be chosen for the lessons they offer. 4. Beliefs about death and the afterlife shape the actual death experience. Seth says our expectations create our reality after death just as in life. 5. There is no single prescribed way to die. The experience varies based on the individual's beliefs, personality and soul intentions. 6. Mass deaths in disasters, diseases, COVID, or wars are seen as collective choices made by groups of souls for shared experiences. 7. Seth emphasizes that death is a transition, not an ending. Consciousness continues and evolves after physical death. 8. The inner self may choose death when the physical body can no longer serve its purposes or when key life lessons have been completed. 9. Suicide is viewed as an extreme rejection of physical reality, but Seth says even this is ultimately chosen by the inner self for its own reasons. 10. Seth encourages embracing life fully while trusting in the wisdom of our deeper self regarding the timing of death. The overall message is that death is a natural part of existence that we participate in creating, not something randomly imposed on us. Seth aims to reduce fear around death by framing it as a self-directed transition.